Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going deep into the world of Sebastian Shaw,
Oh, yeah.
convicted murderer, and maybe even a serial killer.
Wow.
But we're not just going through a timeline here. We're
Oh,
using excerpts from his Wikipedia page and a profile from Radford University
okay.
to look for those patterns, those connections that might just point to other unsolved cases.
Hmm.
It's a real-life detective story.
And what's so fascinating is that we're not just dealing with cold, hard facts here.
Yeah,
It's like we're also trying to understand the transformation of a person,
right.
the psychology, how someone becomes capable of such horrific acts.
Exactly, because this isn't just a name in a true crime book.
Oh,
This is
no.
about a real person who
Hmm.
started life as Chow Quang Ho, born in South Vietnam in 1967.
Wow.
And his early life was, to put it mildly, chaotic.
Yeah.
He and his father moved to the U.S. and moved around a lot,
Oh, wow.
never really settling down.
That constant uprooting, never establishing roots that can definitely have a huge impact on a child's sense of stability and belonging.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, there are reports of him being an altar boy while also exhibiting troubling behavior in school,
Right.
and even a possible suicide attempt with aspirin.
It's almost like these conflicting elements of his personality were
Yeah.
already present early on.
Right.
And then there's the tragic element of physical abuse from his father.
Oh, gosh.
It makes you wonder how much of his later darkness stemmed from that traumatic childhood.
When I first started working on these cases,
Yeah,
I was always looking for those early traumas.
right.
Those moments where things might have gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Could that suicide attempt have been a cry for help?
Mm.
A sign that the abuse was taking a serious toll?
And it's interesting how that trauma seems to coincide with his name change.
Right.
He joins the Marines, serves in Okinawa, Japan.
Okay.
And when he comes back to Oregon, he legally changes his name to Sebastian Alexander Shaw. It's a complete reinvention.
It makes you think.
Right.
Was he trying to create a persona more suited to the violence he was about to commit?
Yeah.
Was this a way to distance himself from the pain of his past? Or was it something more calculated, a deliberate construction of a new identity?
It's almost as if Ta Kung Ho, the altar boy with a troubles past,
Yeah.
simply vanished,
Right.
and Sebastian Shaw, the man capable of terrible things, emerged.
Wow.
But what was he running from?
Exactly.
And what was he trying to become?
And that question leads us right to 1991 and the first confirmed murder that put Sebastian Shaw on the map.
Okay.
J. Andrew Rickbale.
So we're in 1991, Portland, Oregon. J. Andrew Rickbale, a quadriplegic man, is found murdered in his home.
Oh, man.
It's a truly heartbreaking case, especially when you consider that Rickbale was known for being incredibly trusting,
Right.
often inviting strangers into his home.
And you have to wonder if Shaw was one of those strangers.
It's a scary thought.
Remember around this time, Shaw had just been fired from his job after accusations of sexual assault.
Oh, wow.
So it's possible this event was a catalyst,
Yeah.
a moment where his anger and resentment just boiled over.
It's a chilling thought, the idea that someone could be driven to such extremes.
Yeah.
And tragically, it doesn't end there.
Right.
In 1992, the violence escalates. With the murders of Todd Rudiger and Donna Ferguson, a young couple found stabbed to death in their trailer home.
And in this case, we see a really disturbing increase in the level of brutality.
Right.
Donna Ferguson was not only stabbed, but also bound and raped.
Oh, gosh.
It's a horrific crime, and it really starts to paint a clearer picture of the kind of darkness we're dealing with.
What I find particularly frustrating is that Shaw actually confessed to these murders later on.
Really?
But initially, he was acquitted of the Rickbale murder due to a decision by the prosecutor.
Oh, wow. That's
It's a reminder that justice isn't always straightforward.
right.
And that sometimes the legal system can fall short.
Yeah, that's a complex situation for sure.
Yeah,
And it really highlights those difficult choices prosecutors sometimes have to make.
for sure.
But even with that setback,
Yeah,
the investigation into Shaw continued.
right.
And soon he would become associated with a case that continues to haunt investigators to this day.
Okay.
The murder of 14-year-old Jenny Lynn in 1994.
This one is particularly eerie because there were no signs of forced entry, no sexual assault,
Wow.
and no robbery.
It's almost as if the killer just vanished into thin air.
Yeah, what do we know about this case?
Well, the lack of an obvious motive or any clear signs of entry makes the Jenny Lynn case incredibly perplexing.
Yeah.
It suggests a level of planning and possibly even a personal connection to Jenny
Okay.
that we just haven't seen in those previous murders.
Right, and there are these unsettling details that just add to the mystery.
Yeah, like what?
A man matching Shaw's description was seen handing out leaflets in the area around the time of Jenny's murder. And then there's that chilling encounter where a man told Jenny's father that he got his daughter 2 weeks before the actual murder.
Those details are incredibly disturbing.
Right.
They suggest that Jenny's murder might not have been a random act of violence,
Right.
but a targeted, premeditated attack.
Wow.
And it's those kinds of details that really stay with you as an investigator.
It's heartbreaking to think about the fear and confusion Jenny must have experienced.
Yeah.
Shaw became a prime suspect in the case.
Okay.
But he was never charged.
Why not?
Because there was no physical evidence linking him to the scene.
And this is where forensic science becomes so crucial.
Yeah.
You see, without DNA or fingerprints, it's incredibly difficult for prosecutors to prove someone was at a crime scene.
Right.
Even if the suspicions are strong, the burden of proof is high, and without that concrete evidence, it's a huge challenge to secure a conviction.
It's a stark reminder of the complexities of the legal system.
Yeah.
And how difficult it can be to bring closure to victims' families.
Right.
Especially in cases where the evidence is circumstantial.
Absolutely.
But even though the Jenny Lynn case remained unsolved,
Yeah.
other disturbing discoveries were about to be made.
Oh, really? Like what?
In 1994, Shaw was arrested for burglary.
Okay.
And what police found in his possession sent a chill down everyone's spine.
Uh-oh.
A murder kit. A murder kit. What exactly does that entail?
Well, imagine you're investigating a case and you come across a bag.
Yeah.
And it's got a ski mask, gloves, duct tape.
Oh, wow. Multiple knives.
That's terrifying. Yeah, that's essentially what they found in Shaw's possession.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
It really is, and it's the kind of discovery
Right.
that immediately raises red flags for investigators.
Yeah.
It suggests premeditation
Right.
and a chillingly deliberate intention to commit violence.
It's just a really dark picture of his mindset.
Absolutely.
And to make matters worse, while he was in prison,
Yeah.
Shaw confessed to a fellow inmate that he had actually killed 13 people.
13.
But here's the really disturbing part.
Okay.
He offered to give details about these murders in exchange for a transfer to a federal prison where he could smoke.
Wow, so he was willing to bargain with information about his victims.
Exactly.
Just for a little bit of comfort.
Yeah, smoking was banned in Oregon prisons at the time.
That's a chilling indication of his character.
It really is.
It speaks to a profound lack of remorse and a complete disregard for the lives he had taken.
Right. It's as if he saw those murders as bargaining chips, something to be used for his own benefit.
It's a truly disturbing thought.
It is. Sadly, Shaw died in prison in 2021 from undisclosed causes, having served only 15 years of his sentence.
Wow.
So we're left with this unsettling reality. Sebastian Shaw, a man who transformed himself from a troubled immigrant named Chow Kwang Ho into a convicted murderer,
Right.
with a possible connection to several unsolved cases,
Yeah.
including the haunting murder of Jenny Lynn.
And let's not forget that chilling discovery of the murder kit.
Right.
It suggests that he wasn't just reacting to circumstances,
Yeah.
but actively planning and preparing for violence.
And it just makes you wonder how many more victims might be out there. How many families are still searching for answers?
It's a tough question.
It is. So where does this leave us? We've explored the life and crimes of Sebastian Shaw,
Yeah,
a man whose story is both fascinating and deeply disturbing.
absolutely.
We've seen the progression of his violence,
Right.
the chilling discovery of a murder kit,
Yeah.
and the confession that suggests there may be many more victims out there.
Shaw's case really highlights the complexities of understanding the motivations of those who commit such horrific acts.
I agree.
We can analyze their past, their actions, and the evidence they leave behind.
Yeah.
But in so many ways, they remain enigmas.
Right.
Their capacity for violence and their utter disregard for human life, it really challenges our understanding of the human psyche.
Absolutely. And that leaves us with some important questions to ponder.
Like what?
Were there patterns or similarities in his confirmed victims that might help us understand his motives? What can we learn from Shaw's story about recognizing potential warning signs,
Right.
not just in individuals,
Yeah.
but also in the systems and societal structures that sometimes fail to protect the vulnerable?
Those are really important questions.
They are, and I think they deserve our attention.
I agree.
Even as we grapple with the unsettling reality of Sebastian Shaw's crimes.
By examining these cases, by delving into the darkness,
Yeah,
we can hopefully find ways to prevent future tragedies
right.
and create a safer world for everyone.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the unsettling world of Sebastian Shaw.
Thanks for having me.